on everything in New Jersey, but we all agree that our kids deserve a world-class education. So when extremists start attacking our schools, that's not who we are. People who only want to fight to score political points should take that somewhere else.
The New Jersey chapter of the National Education Association, the largest teacher union in the U.S., is condemning parents for confronting school board officials at board meetings, calling them extremists in a new ad released this week. And with that, it is time for the lightning round. KTTH Seattle talk radio host Jason Rantz. Jason, I should just say go, because this is one of those that just absolutely blows my mind.
It really is disgraceful. Here's what an extremist is. Someone who gets in front of kids and tries to tell them that there are endless number of genders and they can choose it at any point. An extremist might be someone who gets in front of a bunch of kids and says white people are evil and that white supremacy is enveloping every single institution that we have in this country. That's what's evil. You know what isn't? Parents who actually care about what's being taught to their kids and actually take the time to go to meetings, have conversations, and the times that they get a little bit aggressive in their tone is when they're being completely dismissed. But at the end of the day, the parents are the parents, not the teachers, as much as the teachers sometimes want to pretend that they're in charge.
Well, it's just incredible to see that happen. Such a great state, such a shock there. Let me take you down to Florida for the Stop Woke Act. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so the Stop Woke Act right now, is, at least a key part of it, is being put on pause by a judge who argues that it goes against the First Amendment rights of private companies to instill their version, basically, of critical race theory. And as much as I understand and support the principle of the law, it is, in fact, a violation of the First Amendment. Companies, if they want to be woke, get to be woke. I think that the best thing we can do is shine a giant spotlight on them so that we know what companies we might want to support and maybe the ones we don't want to support.
When people say critical race theory, I think sometimes they misunderstand that there's a reason that a lot of parents are very upset by this notion that you can teach the idea that there can be inclusivity, but you don't want to end up teaching the idea that you're evil or that because you're a certain skin tone that you're a bad person. Yeah. Parents just are not going to stand for that, Jason.
Yeah, CRT is analysis. It's editorializing history. Now, if that's what your analysis is, okay, don't teach it as fact. And certainly don't put it in front of young kids presenting it as fact in order to indoctrinate them as they go into the later years of elementary, high school, and then college. That's the goal here, is to get in front of them and tell them from the beginning that this country was founded on principles of white supremacy and that racism still exists the same way that it did years and years, decades and decades ago. And we know, of course, that that's not true, but that is the way that you can push forward a social justice agenda, and that's how you basically enact societal change, is you get in front of the kids. And for the most part, kids are not being exposed to anything outside of what their teachers are teaching them from a historical standpoint of putting history in front of them. And that's why I'm so glad that parents are stepping up and saying, yeah, this is too much, enough is enough, get back to the basics and keep your politics to yourself.
Once again, the great state of Florida playing the lead role there. Let me ask you about this one surprised me. Race-based marijuana licenses. Puff, puff, give. What's that all about?
Yes, it's called cannabis equity, which is a new made-up grievance that comes out of the Seattle City Council and the mayor's office, basically complaining that in Seattle there are too many white owners of pot shops. You can't say marijuana because apparently that's racist now, so now you got to say cannabis. And so what they're effectively trying to do with a suite of different bills is that they're going to give a preference to black store owners or black potential business owners who want to open up these pot shops. They're doing this because, number one, they say that the war on drugs disproportionately impacted the black community, and this is their way of basically paying a reparation. I think it's wrong. Call me old-fashioned. I come from the belief that we shouldn't be choosing licensees on the basis of race. If you want to help certain communities get a leg up in businesses, there are ways to do that that aren't patently illegal. So maybe we should be doing a little bit of that. And by the way, the fact that we want to flood the black community here in Seattle with more pot shops just doesn't seem particularly smart to me. Kind of feels like maybe we shouldn't do that to any community.
Well, let me ask you, what did you say? I can't call it marijuana, I have to call it cannabis? Is that the new thing?
Yeah, that's the new... Yeah, apparently marijuana is a word that's steeped in white supremacy, and I think it has something to do with the war on drugs, and that's basically what... It is a... It's 2022, and apparently everything is racist, so there's always going to be something that they like to word. The only police that the left likes is word police, so they will go after you for certain words and try to change it into a social justice cause. It's absolutely ludicrous.
I'm going to propose a national Stop Telling Me What to Say day.
Yes,
maybe that will catch on. Jason Rantz joining us from the Emerald City. As always, thank you, my friend. We appreciate that.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, time for a bit.